So first of all, just to go over some of the real quick, everyone, so back to after I speak, you mentioned that, and you're what? So why don't you all of them? Yeah, I'm going to say all of them. You know, actually, I'm just going to say families that are made by convention. The four of you will come up, and your wife's going to say just her. Yeah. Well, the four of you, or do you want just the four of you? What do you think?
Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai roi l'chasar, Binod Deshe Yarbitzeini, Amim Melechot Yenach Aleini, Nafshi Eshavem, Nafshi Eshavem, Yancheini B'magalei Tzedek, Leman Shemo. Talmidei Hachamim meta Mimebilanu Tmurata. Ki yesh leketzav motza u'makom lezahav yazoku. Barzel mafayu kach be'evan yatzuk nechusha. Be'hachochma ma'ayin timetze be'ezem makom bina. Talmidei Hachamim meta Mimebilanu Tmurata. When a good woman dies, how can she be replaced? There is a source for silver and a place where gold is refined. Iron is taken from the earth, and from stone copper is smelted. But where can goodness be found? And where is the place of understanding? When a good woman dies, how can she be replaced? L'chol zman ve'et l'kol chepetz tachat hashamayim, et laledet ve'et lamut, et lata'at ve'et la'akor natua. For everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted. a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak. In the rising of the sun and its going down, we will remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we'll remember her. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we'll remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we'll remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember her. When we have joys we wish to share, we will remember her. So long as we live, she too shall live, for she is now a part of us, as we remember her. We gather this day with hearts filled with love and admiration and thanks to honor the life of Doreen Kryger, who left this world too soon, at the age of 71, after a battle with cancer. We lay to rest Devorah Bat Yosef Tova Chaya with a tender touch, with tears in the heart, a river of tears, and with rich words from Jewish tradition that speak to a life well lived, a life of love and loyalty, a life of caring and compassion and generosity and warm welcome, a life of friendship and pride and joy and romance, a life of strength and energy and hard work and determination, a life of understanding and acceptance and thoughtfulness. The rabbis ask, what is so special about the letter Bet that is chosen as the first letter of the Holy Torah? They answer, Bet is chosen as the first letter to combine with the last letter of the Torah to spell the Hebrew word Lev, meaning heart. To be a Jewish person means to have a big heart. Doreen had a big heart. That's how they made them in the loving home of Joe and Tanny. And so when it was time to pay it forward, to take care of her parents when they became old and frail, Doreen stepped forward with a loving heart for the day-to-day attending to her parents' needs, mostly falling in her court as her siblings lived outside of Winnipeg. Doreen took up the task with her usual hands-on, all-in and high-energy approach. With this same approach, she came to her community and volunteer work. With the same approach, she came to her friendships, cooking for her friends, looking out for them, comforting them. She was an easy person to talk with. She was a good listener. And it was this same hands-on approach that she took to her studies, going back in her adult years to upgrade her grade 12, then to graduate as a dental assistant and find work in this field. And the family remembers a great day of her graduation. Truth be told, Doreen was a master of many fields of endeavor. In the early years, she worked as a medical secretary. Then she worked with her husband in the business. And I heard from her family that she did it all. She was a parts delivery person when she needed to be. And of course, she kept the books, and everyone who ever had their own business knows how critical it is to have a very good bookkeeper to keep the business on the straight and narrow. Later on, she worked at Beth Israel Synagogue, and I heard that part of her work was helping with the preparation of funerals and such arrangements, and people would phone her late at night, sometimes in the middle of the night, and well, she was happy to do her work with this all-in approach. In the hours in between all these jobs, she had her most important job as the CEO of the family home. She made the house into a home. She cooked wonderful dishes. Her family told me that she made all the old-time favorites, kmish and brisket and chicken soup, and one of her family members remembers the cottage cheese pies. She was a terrific baker, but her biggest job was keeping the family, all her children, in line. She had quite a group of them, a big and lovely family. Her children told me that both of their parents were very hands-on parents, and they remembered terrific memories of Mom and Dad taking them to the zoo, playing games with them, going skating and skiing and tobogganing together, and in the summer, life at the lake. Apparently their mom was a very good, masterful, ski boat driver also. There's a second reason why the bed is chosen for its place of distinction. It has a numerical value of 2. We believe in our faith that life is most fully lived in relationship. And so we celebrate today and we honor a loving marriage of 41 years until death stole Dave away. Under the wedding canopy, they promised to be Re'im Ahuvim, loving friends, one to the other. And that is what they remained all their years together during life's joys and also during life's trials, sharing a great joy in raising their children, sharing some travel, sharing sweet affection. Her children told me that sometimes on Saturday nights they would see their parents sitting together in front of the television set watching a movie, holding hands. And I think this captures the loving tenor of their years together. Genuine respect and trust and selfless caring binding them together for over 40 years. There's a third reason the bet is chosen for its place of distinction. Bet is the first letter of the Hebrew word bracha, which means blessing. Doreen had much blessing in her life. Her dogs, her maj, her creative pursuits of painting and stained glass, and I heard that she was the family photographer also. Her retirement community gave her great blessing and joy. Her gardening, her beloved children-in-law, who held her in a very high regard with a deep affection. Her grandchildren, 8 in all, Joel, Joshua, and Julia, and Daniel, and Ahavdov, and Ariel, and Jeremy, and Leah. Warm memories over the years of doing arts and crafts with the grandchildren. I heard about how Baba painted their nails in the days gone by. I heard how she played board games with them when they were little, how she came to their sports and to their music recitals, and how she held them with loving eyes when they were babies. Embracing them with love, embracing their parents with love, embracing their parents' partners with instant warmth and positive regard and affection. So we thank God for a life filled with lots of blessing and lots of heart. And we thank God and we say, Amen. Amen. To pay further tribute, I want to call upon some members of her family, some children and a daughter-in-law.
I'm first going to read a letter from my youngest daughter, Leah. No words describe the honor of all the joyful and selfless things Baba has done for me. She was a second mother to me. She did anything I needed or asked of her with no hesitation, and doing so with such love too. That is the kind of person she was, one that would simply never be possible to forget. I remember how easy it was for her to laugh amongst people she loved. For instance, when Baba, my mother Tamar, and I used to swim at the complex she lived in, we would time and time again forget something we needed. We would laugh at our forgetfulness and deemed ourselves the forget-me-girls. I took piano lessons for many years, and Baba was the one who got to take me there. She listened while I played, and at the end would say, "Good show, Leah Bear." She knew how to open her heart and her arms to anyone and everyone. My father, Gary, says that because of Baba, he felt part of the family, and that her and Zadie have shown him truly what it means to be a good and loving parent. Speaking for myself, I say that Baba most certainly has been an outline of the mold of who I am at every minute of her loving me. And every minute of her loving me will be felt through the rest of my life. I know that many people feel this way too. She was so incredibly proud of me for accomplishing all that I did, and although I will miss her more deeply than is even imaginable, I will, in her memory, never give up on achieving all my dreams in this lifetime she made possible for me. Firstly, I want to say, how do you sum up my mom's life into a few words? With great difficulty. I remember as a child, Mom taking care of our daily needs, everything from meals to carpools to playdates to school activities. I recall her being with my children from the time they were born. When I was hospitalized, she visited me and brought me homemade food, which was so appreciated. My husband, Gary, told Mom that as far as gifts go, she already gave him her most precious possession, which was me. We are comforted knowing she will rest in peace with her parents and my dad. In her final days, even in her weak condition, she told us that she loved us more than we could know. We were the most loved in the whole world. And we reciprocated as we loved her deeply. We will miss her.
I just want to say thank you to some people. I want to say thank you to the nurses at the hospital. My mom was so glad. That she was so well taken care of there, making her surroundings comfortable. The nurses gave us crucial information, which made me decide to call Jeff, because Jeff was already at the airport going back to Winnipeg. The nurses believed that it was going to be sooner than we thought. So because she told us that, I called Jeff at the airport and I went back and picked him up. And Ronnie wasn't supposed to come until Wednesday, and I called Ronnie, and Ronnie came that day as well. He was able to come to Kelowna that day as well. I want to say thank you to my Auntie Myra and my mom's sister and Carolyn for helping us deal with some very important issues that arose in Kelowna that we could not have successfully resolved ourselves. Their presence was invaluable. invaluable. They have been mentors for me throughout my whole life. My mom was forever grateful to Auntie Myra for coming to Kelowna and taking care of my mom while on chemo. My Auntie Myra is my second mother. I want to say thank you to my Uncle Asher, my mom's brother, and Kathy for spending time with us at the hospice. To have Uncle Asher and Kathy and Auntie Myra and Carolyn was a comfort to Mom and to all of us kids by having them there at the hospice. Rabbi Shmuley spent a few hours with us at the hospice. This provided a sense of calm and comfort and Jewish faith. He made it possible for us to sing a prayer of passing. Mom always liked to get her nails done by a dear friend, Maggie. We were so pleased that she was able to come to the hospice and do Mom's nails. That made Mom very happy. I want to thank my brother Jeff for calling people to notify them of my mother's passing. Jeff was able to take my mom outside into the garden, and my mom really enjoyed that. Tamar's daughter Ariel, when at the hospice, was able to take care of some of my mom's medical needs. I also want to thank Tamar's other daughter Leah. Before she arrived in Kelowna, she was FaceTiming my mom, singing and playing guitar. And then when Leah did arrive at the hospice, she continuously, many songs, she sang and played the guitar at the hospice. I want to say thank you to my sister for opening up her house to all of her out-of-town siblings. And this way we were all together. I want to I want to thank my family for the comfort and support that we gave each other throughout this process, which I could never have done without them. Mom, rest in peace.
Every living moment becomes a memory. Such is the essence of time. It is forever fleeting, and we hope to make the most of these precious moments of life, to create memories. Memories that are shared, remembered, and passed on from one generation to the next. Mom, or Baba as she was called, believed and shared in similar thoughts. Her aphorism was, life is short. Live life to the fullest. Enjoy every moment. The time I spent with Mom was shortened due to the progression of her illness. However, the meaningful conversations shared and exchanged and the beautiful memories created in these short moments are in abundance. I had the privilege of knowing Mom for about 9 years. Over these 9 short years, our relationship changed. It strengthened. What started as a rhythmic process of understanding each other's values, cultures, and rituals soon changed into synchronized rituals of actively participating, acknowledging, respecting, and honoring one another for who we are and where we came from. Mom embraced me into the family with an open heart and mind. She was warm, welcoming, supportive, and genuinely inquisitive about the Indian rituals while participating in these. Her request to me to wear an Indian sari for Leah Anissa's bat mitzvah symbolized her appreciation for where I come from. I was a newlywed daughter-in-law. I guess I had been married for less than a month, and every trivial expression meant a world to me. These bonds were further reinforced as time went on, with her accompanying us to the Hindu temple after the birth of her son, Ahav. Whenever I think of Mom, I'm reminded of her exuberance and vigor, which was evident in anything and everything she did. Accompanied by her iPad, she made every effort to capture moments. She brought her iPad with her on her yearly trips to Winnipeg, which were usually in November, December months. Winter months didn't scare her. These yearly trips in Winnipeg were marked with an itinerary of activities that mostly involved her grandchildren. Attending Josh and Daniel's soccer games, Julia's basketball games, and Joel's birthday celebrations, or visits to the zoo or to the museum. Likewise, her time with her oldest granddaughter, Ariel, growing up included special moments of Baba time, when Baba painted her nails, engaged in crafts, and read books to her. Jeremy, the daredevil, had Baba always worried about him. The special moments he shared with her have helped him become the kind, generous, and thoughtful individual he is today. Leah's time with Baba involved car rides to and from piano lessons, time spent at the beach, and Baba's attendance to her gymnastic performances. Along came Ahav, Baba's youngest grandson, whom I'm proud got a chance to get to know and experience his time with Baba. Baba was fortunate as well to cradle him, sew clothes for him, and see him grow into a talkative individual that he is. Over the last few months, as Ahav's language skills exploded, Baba and Ahav's conversations sounded increasingly amusing. Ahav's FaceTime with Baba involved conversations about dogs, the park, his Lego blocks, the color of the blocks, different shapes and sizes, and of course, the Tata, which is the train. An example of the conversation would sound like this. Ahav see dog. Baba would bring her dogs, Max and Gizmo, close to her iPad, with Ahav trying to grab them on the screen. When we, Jeff and I, spoke to Mom, Ahav would often snatch the iPad from us and let Baba know, "No talk, Mummy, Papa. Baba talk Ahav," essentially meaning he wanted Baba's full attention to himself. This was Ahav's last conversation with Baba, a week before she went into the hospice. While her three children, Ron, Deanna, and Jeff, went back and forth to Kelowna to support Mom over the past many months, Tamar, who resides in Kelowna, was a constant figure, a friend, and a support to her. Tamar, Deanna, and Auntie Myra, Mom's sister, were truly instrumental in supporting Mom throughout her illness and until her final days and hours. The final days in Mom's life brought together three generations: Auntie Myra and Auntie Caroline, and Uncle Asher and his wife Kathy. Mom's four children, Ron, Tamar, Deanna, and Jeff, and her grandchildren, who provided her with practical and emotional supports inspired by Baba. In her final hours, Mom was surrounded by family members whom drew strength and comfort from each other. Jeff said he felt much comfort from Leah singing Hebrew and popular songs to Baba in her last 2 days. Before Mom passed away, she provided each of her children with a memory stick of memories of moments she captured on her iPad to share amongst one another and hopefully with the future generations to come. Mom, your memories will be alive with us, and we shall continue taking more pictures to add on to the everlasting memories that you have left behind for all of us. Amen.
Please rise. Male rachamim, shochem bamromim, chamasei menuchan nechona, tachad kana v'hashchina, memala kedoshim u'tohorim, kazohar harakia ma'afirim, et nishmat Tabora bat Yosef v'tova chaya, shalcha le'olama began Eden, began Eden tehei menuchata an abrachamim, asher v'slekafecha le'olamim, u'sror v'sorchayim et nishmata, Adonai u'nachalata, v'tanu b'shalom al mishkava, v'nomar amen. A nation people, we are well acquainted with grief and with the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us. Yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave, and that there is strength in faith. With Job we say, Adonai Natan, God you have given, you gave us a loved one who will not be forgotten. For all that was good and enduring in her life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. And now that God you have taken away, we pray for strength to turn our saddened hearts into an altar of trust, before which we acknowledge your love as we now say, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach. Amen. With these words, the sanctuary service is concluded. Interment will now take place at Hebrew 6 Cemetery. Afterwards, everyone is warmly welcomed to the traditional meal of consolation, which takes place at Etz Chaim Synagogue. The address is 123 Matheson Avenue. I would ask everyone to please remain at your places until the pallbearers and the family and myself have left the sanctuary. Thank you.
So